Probably one of the most controversial movies that's in theaters right now. That was the voice of our good friend who's here with us today playing the role of David Duke. If you don't know who David Duke was, he was a white supremacist, a white nationalist, a politician. He was just a lot of white. And he's still
all white everything.
All white everything, and the movie is really based around the character.
A real character by the name of well, not character, but a real person by the name of Ron Stallworth, an officer in the 70s, which is when the movie takes place, and he infiltrated the KKK. And actually, I read that he kept the signed membership from David Duke in his office for a couple years after he successfully became a member, and with us right now. I've never seen
and this officer was black.
Right, the officer was
black.
Ron Stallworth was a black officer, but I've never seen an actor feel almost ashamed to hear his voice on a clip. He put his head down and was like, Jesus.
Well, out of context is just
just another.
It sounds like some speech I gave.
Yeah, right. Well, he's here today to explain himself. The one and only Topher Grace is here.
TG!
Hey man, hold up, brother. Put your headphones on for a second. I want feedback. Man, this is our good friend, man. Topher and I go way back. We've done a few scenes at MTV together.
That's right.
You know, I cheered for him in Predators. You know,
he was a bad guy.
I know, but I wanted him to be good. You know,
Okay.
you know, because he's a good man. You know, a great guy. And
You sound like my mom.
Yeah,
Those
well,
are the roles. She's like, why are you playing these roles?
that's what she said.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, doing this movie, you're right. It was amazing. Ron Stallworth came to our table read the first day, and he told us this whole story about how he infiltrated the Klan. I mean, it sounds like that Dave Chappelle sketch at first.
Yeah.
That's what Spike, when he got the script from Jordan Peele, who's a producer on it, he said, "You mean like that Spike Lee sketch? I mean, like that Dave Chappelle sketch?"
Yeah.
And no, it's a really, I mean, he's an American hero. He figured out how to do it. So he told us this whole story at the table read, and then I guess David Duke had come out when his book came out in 2006. So that never happened. Like, you know, we'd never let a black man infiltrate the KKK. And he opens up his wallet, takes out his KKK membership card, and signed on the back by David Duke. He just passed it around.
Wow.
We couldn't believe it. Yeah.
And it actually happened.
Oh, it happened.
What was it about? Because obviously the role was a lot on you, you know, emotionally and spiritually, because obviously you don't conform to the same ideology that David Duke does.
Than's for making that
Okay,
really
so
clear.
Topher Grace is not a white supremacist. He's not a racist or any of these things. He's not on the side of Nazis or nothing like that. But what made you want to do the role?
Right.
Well, it's because I hate that ideology so much. It's tough because I did so much research that I didn't want to do for this role. And you don't want to say you hate this guy or you hate what he stands for, because he's all about hate.
Yeah.
But the more research I did, the more I just hated it. Like, it's just not something you want to spend a lot of time thinking about.
How did he become who he is, in your opinion, David Duke?
Oh, man. I mean, I would not know. After all the research, I read his autobiography, which is like his Mein Kampf. It's like, it is an autobiography, but it's more, he's kind of saying his ideology, and watched all these interviews, and I still couldn't tell you. They tell you with, I mean, he's obviously just like a twisted psychopath, but like when you're doing a role, sometimes people say like you should find something that's likable or something that you can empathize with the character. You know, if you're playing the Joker or something, you know, make something up fictional from his childhood or something so that you can identify with the character. And the more research I did, the more I hated this guy. So I actually never found that thing.
Did you receive any backlash from white supremacists or KKK members?
Well, I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah,
wait, can you swear? You can swear on this.
You just
right?
did. It's okay. All right, go ahead. Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it now.
All right.
No, I could give two shits what anyone like that thinks. I was nervous about playing it because I have black friends, and I wanted to know what they would think of it. And then when I saw it at the premiere in Brooklyn, I was like, oh, it's going to be fine. Like, when you're doing those scenes, like we did all the Klan rally stuff in 1 week, and by the end of it, I was like, literally like depressed. But Spike said, don't worry. Like, I'm Spike Lee. Like, I know what I'm doing. And truly, once you're in his message, I think everyone understands that you're saying something with Spike.
Okay.
You're trying to help Spike say something.
the N-word is still, just a hot topic in the black community, the global community, everywhere. They say nigga in Africa and Philippines, a whole lot. It's not a word I choose to use, even though I just said it right there.
Right, except for that time.
That time. How did you approach that? And was it difficult for you to say it, or did it just flow off your tongue like lyrics?
Yo, you are one hell of an interviewer, Calvin.
No, it's a good question because I've watched, before I went in for it, I watched behind the scenes video of Django Unchained because I was like, how do they do this?
Yeah.
Like, even if, you're all on the same page, how do you not feel awkward? And I'll tell you, the answer is, it is awkward.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no way around that. You just have to make sure you're working with a great, great director like Spike. When I said I wanted to play the role, I called my agent and said, I think I have a take on David Duke for this. I mean, I don't want to play David Duke. I want to play it in a Spike Lee joint. And they said, I mean, nothing. It was like silence. No, I'm serious. So they said, you have to go in and read for him, which, I don't always do, but I was happy to go do it because it's not like anything I've ever done before. And the night before, I was alone in my office rehearsing it. And there were a lot of other words, too, that were difficult. And I was alone. My wife was asleep. So alone in an office. And I couldn't, I was swallowing the words. You're so trained not to even think them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people. I know white people who are trying to use that word, who I don't think they think they're racist, but they're trying to use it for humor or they're trying to get away with it, kind of. That's not me. Like, and not just the N-word, other words.
Yeah.
But so giving this speech I had to give, I thought, I don't know if I can do this. And I went in the next day and met Spike. And this is why he's such a great director, is I kind of said, I'm feeling a little awkward about this. And I'm sorry if that makes me not a great actor, but I don't know. And he went to work just making me feel so comfortable. He's really funny. A lot of people don't know how funny Spike is.
Hilarious, yeah.
And he just made me feel so good that I then gave a reading for him that then got me the part. But I don't think I could have done it without him.
Without him coaching you through it. David Duke is still with us.
Well, he's not with us.
I mean, I'm just saying he's somewhere you can find him alive in America. Did he reach out to you at all?
He's in the film. He's in the end of the film.
He's in the end of the film.
They show the Charlottesville footage at the end of the film.
Yeah.
That's interesting too, because Spike tied in current events with this story. How do you think he executed that?
Well, it's amazing because the first shot of the film is the Civil War. Last shot of the film is 2017.
Yeah.
Only someone like Spike. There's a story you were talking about, but someone going undercover. But then there's this larger story that's on top of it that Spike's telling about America. And he did such an amazing job. The hard part is, like, the better job that I do, the weirder the compliments are.
Yeah.
Afterwards, like, people are kind of like, good job.
Yeah. You killed that?
Terrible.
Some of your best work?
When we did the premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, this is like an amazing thing happened to this film, which is a 10-minute standing ovation, which is, 1 minute is like ridiculous, and then 10 minutes was, I've never, people are throwing flowers. It was like unbelievable. But they do this thing where they put a live camera on the faces of the cast, and it's shown up on the big screen. So there's 2,000 people watching it. We just watched this amazing movie together. It's like Spike Lee's, one of his greatest works, and then it goes to John David Washington, who killed it in the film, and so his face is up on the big screen. Then it goes to Laura Harrier, her face is up on the big screen, and then it came to me, and like the clapping kind of died down. Like, no one was really clapping anymore. And then like it went to Adam Driver, and everyone started like clapping again, and I was like, I think it's because I did a good job, or maybe not. I don't know.
So did David Duke ever, because you portrayed him, did he ever reach out to you, say, hey, you suck, kid, or thank you for the, what he...
I did an article in Cannes when I was there that was just overwhelmingly negative about him. I just talked about how awful he was, and how one of the things I did to research was I watched some episodes of Donahue that he was on in the early 80s.
Phil Donahue used to have a talk show back in the late 80s.
Like an early Jerry Springer type thing. So they brought on the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and I talked about that's where I really figured out how evil he was, because he was so congenial, so well-spoken. He kind of turned the audience. They were booing him, and by the end they were listening to him, and I thought, oh, that's what makes him so evil. He's not like a normal racist. He's like rebranding it, kind of. And in that interview, I talked about how he used the terms "Make America Great Again" and "America First" a lot, like you heard in that clip.
Wait a minute. David Duke used to say "Make America Great Again." So
yeah.
that he was. Did he put on a hat, on a red hat back then? Or no, he didn't. He didn't do that.
A white one.
Yeah. It was watching it from 2017. Those phrases really stuck out. So I gave this whole interview just talking about he's evil and it's terrible. And then one morning a couple weeks ago, my wife woke me up and she was like, "Hey, David Duke's tweeting about you." I was like, "What universe am I in right now?" So I went and read it, and he said, from this incredibly negative article, he said, "You're right, Topher. I did come up with those phrases. Maybe I should sue Donald Trump. Thank you." And I went like, by the way, he ran for office a couple times. Like, it's no wonder he went political. I was like, how did you find something positive?
Wow. And what you said.
Terrible, terrible article. But that's David.
What is your fear that you played this so well that even though, the story is a travesty, and what those folks stand for, most of us don't agree with, but that you might actually help recruit some people?
That's why you got to do it with someone like Spike Lee. I wouldn't have done it with anyone but Spike Lee. I mean, it's the tone of the movie was really challenging.
Yeah.
It's a razor's edge of because it's really funny.
Uh-huh.
That's what's so interesting about the movie is that he uses humor to kind of bring a bigger audience in, which is really smart of Spike. And then it's also really devastating. So, I thought if the material is so dangerous if it's not funny in the right way, which is basically just making fun of him.
Okay. All right, man. Topher Grace is here, man. Give him a hug, Heather.
No.
Yeah, a drink. Tracy, let's ask your question, and we'll come back and answer it. The question is,
since you are so emotionally involved in this film, could you do a sequel?
We'll answer that when we come back. Sway in the morning, 888-742-3345. Give us a call. All right, Topher Grace is here. He's playing David Duke in the new movie BlacKkKlansman in theaters now. It's a story that was produced, co-written, and directed by Spike Lee. Based on a memoir, BlacKkKlansman, back in 2014, written by Ron Stallworth, who was a police officer who worked in Colorado Springs, who actually infiltrated the KKK, actually became a member, pretended like he was a white supremacist, racist guy who hated all kind of folks, blacks, Latinos, Jewish folks. Who else? He hated everybody but white people.
That's right.
And he was able to infiltrate the KKK. Topher plays David Duke, and he's just really laboring through these interviews he has to do for press.
Right.
I feel bad for the guy, but you did an excellent role. You're an actor, and you did what you came to the set to do to help tell his story.
Thank you, man.
And why you think this story isn't Tracy just asked you a question.
Yeah, and I was saying clearly this has been emotionally exhaustive. So if there was a sequel, could you do it?
Well, there could be a sequel because like a week ago, David Duke denied that this ever happened. And then like literally 1 week ago, he called Ron Stallworth.
And said what?
Basically, I think I'm going to come off bad in this movie. He's right.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
So he kind of admitted that they did have this phone relationship, and he called him again. And I don't know if it'd make a very good movie, but it was so interesting that right before the film came out, he called him. But the answer is, I guess if Spike Lee was doing it, I mean, I just don't think there's anyone else you can do this kind of role for.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I don't want to play David Duke in a TV movie of the week. Like, I don't even want to play David Duke, period. But
what about Halloween?
Play it for Spike.
Would you play him for Halloween?
Good Lord, no.
T from Texas.
What up, T?
Hi there. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for taking my call. So in hearing Topher and his hesitations with even taking the role, I had a question about that. So Topher, given your hesitations with the role of David Duke, why do you think it's important to portray these controversial people in film? And even more so, how do you feel that these types of films impact racial discourse in today's society?
Great question. So to answer the second part first, the best thing about this movie is that people won't leave the lobby afterwards. Like, everyone's talking, and that's where it's got to start. And we had someone, John David and I did Nightline together, and the guy said, who is this movie for? And we paused, and I said, who is this movie not for? I mean, we're all in it together, guys. Like, we all live in this society. Anyone who thinks they're not touched by this issue is ignorant. So then, in terms of playing these roles, it's to be in a film like that, and to help deliver Spike's message. I'd rather be the hero, but that's not a story that's very interesting to me. So whatever I can do to help tell the story, it was important to me that at the end no matter what, he looked like a moron, which I think we achieved.
Okay, T, thank you for your question. You're a citizen.
Sway in the morning.
Kawana's from Charlottesville, Virginia. Good morning, Kawana.
Oh, Charlottesville.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey.
Good, thank you.
Good. I just want to say thank you guys for keeping this stuff going. We from Charlottesville see this. When this happened last year, it was like really crazy. And to see stuff like this on TV, you just don't think nothing like this happens in your hometown. It's small Charlottesville, So, as far as Topher goes, I don't know how I hear how you say you felt playing this role, but man, I'm telling you that I gotta go see the film. I haven't seen it yet, but it's just crazy how you can transform yourself to play a role of somebody with so much hate in them. I just want to thank you guys for that.
No, thank you. It was Spike's idea to have it come out on the 1-year anniversary of Charlottesville, and I think the reason he did that is because it all moves so fast now. We forget. We forget there's a new thing happening. It's terrible, the things that are happening, but it doesn't mean we should forget things like Charlottesville. And, it ends with this footage from Charlottesville. When I was at the premiere, the audience, it ends with footage that we shot of a Klan rally where we're all in robes and stuff. It was not the most fun day of shooting. But it goes into footage of Charlottesville and the tiki torches and that stuff, and the audience didn't know at first.
Yeah.
They didn't know they thought they were watching footage from the 70s. And all of a sudden they realized they're watching footage from 2017. And there was like a gasp that went through the audience. And I thought, man, that's why I want to work with great artists like Spike Lee, because they, if you don't remember your history, you could be condemned to repeat it. And we might be repeating it a little bit right now. And that's why we need films like this.
Kawana, you're a citizen.
Sway in the morning. Two things. I'm tripping that you get a KKK card. Like, it's just weird that you mentioned that he whipped out his card. You get a card for...
Well, it's always great when a black man is taking out his KKK card and handing it to you. It's a unique experience.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. But after the research, do you think that David Duke thought it was hate, or he just thought, like, this is just regular life, that he didn't really see it as hate?
It's funny. All my research still didn't show me inside of the guy, because he's such a politician, and his ideas are so crazy to me. It would be like reading his book was like reading a book called Gravity Doesn't Exist. Every page you're going, I just know it does. Like, so he's intelligent. It's a well thought out argument about something that you just can't be right. So it was a overwhelmingly negative experience to read it, but I never really figured out whether, I don't know. I feel like something must be wrong with him on a real inside level, because he is intelligent. He's just God, the way he's using it is so twisted.
Evil, almost.
I would use the word evil.
You would use the word evil?
If not for him, then for who?
Okay, Nico from Orlando is on the line.
Nico.
What's going on, guys? Second time getting through. Appreciate it. Love your show. Listen to it forever.
Thank you.
Topher, just had a question. I was curious to see how maybe every time you went to shoot, how you got into the mentality to play a role such as David Duke, because honestly, every other role I've seen you play and just hearing you speak on the radio, you seem like just genuinely a nice, guy.
Oh, thanks, man.
So I just was wondering.
Seriously,
I just
thank
was
you,
wondering
by
how
the
you
way.
prepared. Well, I just was wondering how you seem like a nice guy. I just was wondering how you prepared each time you went to shoot to play a role such as David Duke with someone. Well, I know you just said you didn't know if it was just the way he was hardwired or if it was hate, whichever.
Hey,
Obviously, his mind was skewed.
Did you see the movie, Nico?
I just watched it 2 nights ago, and I loved it. I thought it was a great film.
Yeah, Nico, thank you. I'm not a method actor, so there's some actors who have a really tough process. You know, they'll like put music, like headphones on, and have to get into the character, or they kind of take it home with them. I've never been that kind of actor. On this one, it was a little bit different. I just had to. First of all, I would get really depressed afterwards, so that was like new to deal with. And then, in order to get into the character, I just had a lot of materials that I would call on, like on my computer and stuff, because one, you're kind of doing an impression of a real human, which is tough. But then also you want to stay in the mindset, and that mindset is so terrible. So yeah, I would say I'm not looking to do any roles like this anytime soon.
Okay. Hey, Nico, thanks for supporting the movie, and thanks for your call. You're a citizen.
Swain Morning.
Real quick, we'll take one more call. We got something for you before you go, Topher. Sam is in Colorado.
Sam.
What's up? In Colorado Springs is where Ron Stallworth was a police officer at. What do you know about this, Sam?
Yeah, I was actually calling in to say that Colorado used to be written with the K because that's how big the KKK's influence was here. Really? Yeah, so it's really exciting. Yeah, I'm really excited that this movie is happening because people view Colorado as like the potheads, and we're all like smokers and everything. But there's a lot that went down here that a lot of people don't know about. And though the KKK is not a big influence in Colorado Springs anymore, but it's still there, and those views are still there. So I think it's really cool that this movie is here.
Thank you.
That's what's so great about Spike. I knew in the script, even from the first time I read it, that sometimes in these movies, even though someone's a bad guy, they can look a little cool, and he never lets any of these guys look cool, like which is really smart. And even when we were doing it, I'd be so depressed at this Klan rally, and then Adam Driver would point out, like, look at these outfits. It's so stupid. Yeah. I mean, look, it's a group that's caused a lot of pain, so I have nothing but fear, and I understand what they've done. But if you really kind of step back, what a bunch of morons! Like, what are they doing? Yeah. Like, I mean, the whole thing is just so idiotic.
Not really fashionably conscious, you know what I mean?
Well, they're not conscious in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, man. Before we're gonna lighten the mood a little bit, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
thank you, Sway.
Congratulations,
Come on,
Topher
take me
Grace,
out of this
for doing a great role. You're a tremendous actor, and you have been. You have a great legacy that you put together so far. I mean, you're not even at the end of you ain't even at halftime in your career. It's still the second quarter.
Well, thank you. Being that we're the same age, I know why you want to say that I'm young.
Okay, absolutely. We got to push that.
Yeah, exactly.
If we don't sell
young
it,
guy.
if you don't sell, we don't sell it. Who will?
Right. That's
all right. So we came up with this game, and it's called
Know Your Role. You've been in the business for quite a while. Let's see if you can remember some of the characters that you played. This is Know Your Role on Sway in the Morning.
All right, this is how it works. DB, break it down.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to name a character you played. Let's say Eddie Brock, and you would say what movie?
Spider-Man 3.
There you go. Real easy. So that's how it works, all right? Number 1, Seth Abrahams.
Damn, not the first one.
I mean, that sounds not familiar.
Really?
These are all, I definitely played all these.
There was drugs in the movie.
Traffic.
Good.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. You knew it.
He knew the drugs.
We're starting with one from 18 years ago.
No problem.
All right.
Let's start with Edwin.
That would be Predators.
Yeah, so you got it. You got it. You played yourself.
In Oceans 11 and Oceans 12.
Yes, you did.
And Everyday Life.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Matt Franklin.
Matt Franklin. Oh boy. These names are all so bland. It'll tell you something about me.
In the 80s.
Take Me Home Tonight.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Now, bring it home. Agent Adrian Yates.
Agent Adrian. Probably the double, if he's an agent. Oh, no? American Ultra.
There you go.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go.
There you
Good
go.
job.
Remember how he knows his work.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I think that was like an F at best.
Yeah.
I mean, he damn near spelled it out for you there, Topher.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Sorry, his mind is, kind of.
I thought you were gonna play clips or something. The names.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, who even remembers the names?
Hey, Topher Grace, man. Hey, man.
just shitting on my game.
Yeah, what a stupid game. You know what? I'm never coming back.
You're not coming back. That's it. That's it. All right, hey man. Look, it's great to see you.
Yes.
guys,
Congratulations
thank
on the film.
Thank you.
I know you got other works coming ahead of you, so come back and talk about
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always have so much fun here. Thank you
that. Yeah,
guys.
absolutely, man.
I needed that, by the way. I needed that at the end. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know, man. Shit, yeah. Heather didn't hug you, so we had to give you something.
No, I did. I
Did you
gave
hug
him-
him?
Yeah.
No,
I
she
gave-
said I'm gonna get one on the way out. I didn't know
Yeah.
what that meant. Yeah.
Okay. Topher Grace, ladies and gentlemen. Sway in the morning. We're coming right back. Shade 4-5.